Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, August 8th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Monday. Alrighty, so as advertised today is about the kids. I want to do a couple of highlights, though, before I talk about the kids so that I don't forget them, which I always do when I start on my rant. The first thing I want to remind everyone is today is the 8th. Today is the last day to request your absentee ballot if you want to participate using an absentee ballot. Today is the last day, and it's 5:00. So today it's 4:17 now. Go out to the Oklahoma State Election Board, type in your name, your birthday, click on that you want your absentee ballot. Today is the last day to request that in order to get it so that you can participate. Wanted to mention that. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that election is on August 23rd. So that's 15 days, 2 weeks, and 1 day from tomorrow, that we have a very important election. And here's why it's important. Not the reasons that you think, but here's why it's important. Because every Democrat in the state of Oklahoma, whether you're rural, whether you're urban, whether you're in a highly populated and not very populated, every Democrat in the state of Oklahoma will have a ballot to vote. So if you haven't started doing your research, now's the time to do your research. At the very minimum, you will have a ballot that will have our U.S. Senate candidate runoff. And we have 2 candidates in that race that are running off to decide who's going to be on the ballot against James Langford. So we have Jason Bollinger and Madison Horn. Do your research. Go out to okdemocrats.org, click on elections, click on candidates, and we have links to their websites, their social medias, and anytime that they've been on either the Chair's Daily Live or the Hamilton Report. Go out, learn who they are, and make your decision. I will tell you that they are blowing up my phone because they are everywhere. The candidates are, they're in Lawton, they're in Norman, they're in Okmulgee, they're all over the place. So you need to go where they are and hear what they're talking about. That's the election that's right in front of us, the one on August 20th. And then we have the election on November 8th. And I'm going to keep talking about them like y'all don't know, because I need to make sure that everybody knows. Everybody knows that we have elections coming up. And no, Chris, I have no idea what the number of races are in the general. I have no idea what that number is. So find out who you're supposed to vote for. And when I say supposed to, it's who speaks to your values. Find out who it is, what candidate speaks most closely to your values. You're not marrying them. You're picking someone who speaks closely to your values, which brings me to my topic that I always want to talk about. Let's talk about values. I care about the future. I care about education in the fact that I believe that education is the great leveler. And I think that, I believe that it is in our Constitution that we'll provide a public education. And I believe that our state is working diligently, intentionally towards defunding education. And we cannot sit here and allow it to happen. We can't just be mad at the latest thing and allow it to happen. We allow it to happen. We can't wait until the election happens and then complain that the wrong people, according to your values, got elected. You have to show up. So let's focus. Oklahoma, you guys have heard it over and over again, ranks 49th in education. Now, we say we're the most pro-life state in the union, but we rank 49th in education. So another number came out today. We rank 40th in childhood well-being. 40th, not top 10, guys. That's not top 10 that our governor is always talking about, right? We rank 49th in just plain old education. It's because we're trying to defund it. We're trying to scare the teachers. We're trying to micromanage all of these things, and we don't fund it. I mean, we just don't. Beyond the money we're continue to try to take away, the money we spend right now is not enough, and we are nowhere near our regional peers. We're not. And this attempt to, what is it that they say? Move the money with the student. Be real clear. When they say move the money with the student, that's specific, very specific, and a limited amount of students. I say it all the time. We all do well when we all do well. And so just isolating and pointing out just a couple of students that can do well does not help us. And that's what the vouchers are for. Yes, will underserved students somehow, sometimes eke out a scholarship? Maybe. But if you have a B student who's not doesn't excel in sports and lives in rural Oklahoma, they're going to be stuck at the school whose funding is being taken. 95% of Oklahoma students go to public schools. And this attempt to defund public schools, um, it's not fair. So, why am I talking about this today? One, I care about schools, but two, I live in Tulsa. And I can't remember the last time I stepped inside a public school. And so I understand that this is going to come kind of out of nowhere. But I live in Tulsa, and so it's been put on my radar. And you guys have, I've had more and more Tulsa education topics. I think that they extrapolate all over the place, but the governor is laser focused on destroying Tulsa public schools. And I want to talk about it not because I want to defend Tulsa public schools particularly, because I don't have any kids in Tulsa public schools, but if he can do it to the second largest district in the state, imagine what he's going to do to the other districts. So there's all the talk about this recent degradation of Tulsa public schools and Mustang schools ratings, accreditation ratings. There's a lot of mixed talk, and I have mixed emotions about it. I don't have mixed emotions about HB 1775. I am very clear that that is a horrible bill, only meant to bully teachers, only meant to rob Oklahoma students of equal footing in education. Because if they teach it to the letter, Oklahoma students will be behind. It's that simple. But HB 1775 passed through our legislature, and it is the law in Oklahoma. And rather than trying to figure out if Tulsa actually violated the law, which I still feel very confident that they didn't based on the information that I have, or they did in some little narrow slice, but they refused to prove it to us. And so for me, if you can't defend your actions, that's another thing. But we are here because our governor is a bully. I'm not calling him names. I'm calling him the governor. I'm describing his actions. He's a bully. He has backed us into this corner so that we're having a conversation about HB 1775. So we're not talking about the fact that Epic has robbed our state. And when the results came out, he tried to hide them. And that he's buddies with the guys who started it. And that they had multiple bank accounts. And it truly looks like a shell game. And if we talk about that, we have to talk about this governor's culpability. And it's just funny that he's using this as the shiny object. I wrote down one of his tweets because I wanted to share it with you guys. On August 2nd, he tweeted, "It's pretty cut and dry for most Oklahomans. School districts that violate state law should be held accountable." I think it's funny that this man even knows what holding someone accountable looks like, or pretends like he does, considering how he ain't trying to be held accountable for anything. Class Wallet, since we're talking about schools, Class Wallet was the program used to allow parents to order Christmas trees because it was going to help their kids, whatever. The mismanagement happened on our side of the fence. The mismanagement happened in Oklahoma. Thank you. Thank you, T. Cherie. This governor won't enroll his kids in public schools. He won't consider it because he knows He knows what Oklahomans are doing to our schools. But our governor actually said the words holding someone accountable. I mean, can't we all come up with one or two things, maybe 10 things that this governor hasn't been held accountable for, who has dodged accountability, who's tried to blame other folks? So Epic, he tried to hide the results. And now he's trying to blame other people. And he's also saying that he didn't know the folks who were in charge of Epic. Are you kidding me? We have photographic evidence, sir. Stop it. Swadley's. He tried to hide the results of Swadley's, and then they fired someone so they can blame it on that person, and he's not taking responsibility. $5.4 million worth of COVID supplies, PPE that we ordered and paid for, never got. We're not even talking about that anymore. Moving the COVID center to Stillwater at a price tag that is insane. And they actually never did any of the testing that they were supposed to do. Not talking about that. No accountability. I'm not even talking about he runs as a businessman in 13 states, accused him of bad business practices. You know, there's a whole list of things that this guy's not being held accountable for, and he's talking about accountability. Stop it. He keeps reminding us why he needs to be voted out. Which brings me to my topic. He needs to be voted out. And the only people who can vote him out is us. You got to show up and you got to tell people and you got to remind people. Because while he's out here bragging about whatever made up accomplishment he brags about today or whatever costume he feels like putting on today, we're being distracted by the fact that our state is ranked 40 or higher. And there are only 50 states, you know, a couple of territories. We're ranked 40 or higher on all the important indices. This governor is not focused on taking care of the state, the children of our state. He's busy blaming other folks. I got way off topic, but whenever I talk about the governor, I cannot help but remind you guys, he has to go. He has to go. We have an election coming. I still hear some people saying they're not sure. They don't know. They're not sure if voting even matters. It does matter. Let's take HB 1775, for example. We got HB 1775 because there aren't enough Democrats in the legislature. And of course, I'm supposed to say that, but I just mean even if we had a balance so that the right questions would be asked. Because this bill, it took one teacher who has a criminal background, so her credibility is shaky, but it took one teacher to complain and to get a whole school district's accreditation downgraded. That's not a good law. That's not a good bill at all. But we got there because not enough Democrats are showing up to vote. So I take that personally, like perhaps I didn't do enough to demonstrate why it's important that we vote. And so every day you're going to hear me begging, giving reasons, pleading, encouraging, suggesting that you vote, trying to give you a reason, trying to say the thing that will get you to show up and vote. I had a very interesting conversation. I'm going to be real quick with the chair of Kansas today. Everybody's all excited about what happened in Kansas, but what she said to me was our county parties were strong and ready. And when we needed them to activate to make this happen, they were ready. So if you don't know how you can get involved and you don't know how you can make sure that more people know, call your county parties. Get involved in your county parties. If your county party is dormant, get in there and help lead it. We need an infrastructure. Oklahoma's next. We need an infrastructure. We got to drive folks to vote. I'm sorry, guys. I had a whole thing planned, but I got all sidetracked on reminding you guys to vote. Let me give you another reason. Langford and Inhofe, both elected officials, voted against capping insulin. Our current governor, I didn't even talk about this, is being sued by the veterans that he fired unceremoniously because they disagree with him politically. And the most important thing, I talked last week about direct democracy and our petition process. Just learned today that we hired a company. We're paying them $300,000 a year to count um, signatures on ballot initiatives. $300,000 on a no bid contract, and the company that got awarded the contract is a Republican polling company. We got to vote, guys. Please vote. I'll be back here tomorrow with a more organized strategy and more hopeful strategy. You guys have a great one.